What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity Junk. I lived in Europe for 7 years, off and on. That's about 7 years off and on. And what I did notice when I would go to Western countries in Europe, or even in the Eastern European bloc or Central Europe, was there were a lot of black men, many of these men who were dating white women and were passing on the black women. Now, for me, I could see why this made more sense because, a lot of the women in Poland, they have more infrastructure, they're more stable. And a lot of these black men were coming from other countries. So, maybe they wanted something different and, things like that. But I did go to the UK and I really enjoyed my time in the UK. Shout out to the UK, shout out to the brother Falcon Black and Senator Truth and King Richards, guys like that. I saw a lot of interracial relationships in the UK. I was living in Edmonton at the time. And this was odd to me because it's so many black women in the UK, a lot of black women in the UK. So, if brothers have the opportunity to go black, a lot of times they're not, right? And Dr. Umar Johnson is always critical of black men that date white women.
Black men date out their race more than all other men put together. You know why? Racial inferiority. We don't think we're as good as the white man, so we need the white woman in order for us to feel an artificial sense of equality. It is self-hatred to the 20th power. I'm not against white women, but I support black women. And in my support of black women, I cannot condone interracial dating. But let's look at the economics. Take the romance out. Take the emotion out. Let's look at the economics. Marriage is a business contract. Women on average live longer than men. So if I marry a white woman and I die prematurely, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. I die prematurely, rest in peace, marvelous Marvin Hagler. That white woman is not going to take any of the wealth that I built as a black man and give it to the black community so we can help regenerate ourselves. She's going to keep that money for herself, and all that black money will go back into the hands of white society. Interracial marriage is economic betrayal.
So there has been, brothers, a particular clip that Dr. Umar Johnson that has posted or has been posted where a black man in the UK explains why black men in the UK will never give up white women.
Somebody please tell Dr. Umar Johnson that black men in the UK are not going to be listening to his advice or his way of life when he's telling them to stay away from white women and to stick to black women. That is not going to happen. Black men in the UK are heavily dependent on the economic security that white women provide. Black men in the UK get into relationships with women. I'm talking about adult men, not teenagers who still live at their mum's house and don't have life pressures on them. I'm talking about adult black men in the UK get into relationships with women to find a place to live for free and to find a place where they haven't got to pay bills. That's why black men in the UK are in relationships with white women on mass amounts, on mass levels. Because white women will lie and do benefits fraud to basically allow her man to live with her for very long periods of time, 10, 15, 20 years, where he doesn't have to pay any bills and he doesn't have any big financial commitments. Black women are not having it. I'm telling you, as somebody that's been with black. Somebody please tell Dr. Umar Johnson that black men in the UK are not going to be listening to his advice or his way of life when he's telling them to stay away from white women and to stick to black women. That is not going to happen. Black men in the UK are heavily dependent on the economic security that white women provide.
So that's very interesting, guys. Let me just talk about that, okay? This is a very, very interesting perspective. When we look at this or hear this, it's very interesting to me because the black men are saying, listen, Umar, we understand what you're talking about and we get what you're saying, but there is just no real benefit to dealing with women in the black community in the UK. We would like to basically do the freebie thing, a lot of us. Or we would at least like to do the 50-50 thing. We get us a white woman She gonna be wanting to take care of us. We ain't gonna really be having to do a whole lot. Okay, she will lie for us. And a black woman is not having that, because with a black woman, you actually have to be responsible. And I know a few guys like this in the UK. I even know guys who have white women, white girlfriends, white wives, and you know, hey, that's their security. And then they're in the streets clapping black cheeks. That happens a lot in the UK, okay? And what I wanna say to that is, you know, here's the thing that women gotta understand with some of the men. I'm a little bit more old school, but the men are looking for some of the same things that you women are looking for. And it's because of the culture and the times that we are in. We have told these young men that women are equal, and a lot of these are brothers that have come from, you know, their parents are strictly traditional. A lot of these young black men in the UK, their families come from Africa, the Caribbean, and so, hey, you know, those traditional rules are there. You know, men take care of women, and you know, you got to get out there and get it. And so now that the young men are feeling a little bit differently, then that's telling me that they're falling into this conditioning. And at the same time, this is a conditioning that you have also bought into as women. So the men are saying, listen, you know, a black woman, oh no, I gotta go out there and pay for her. I gotta go and take care of her. And what they're trying to say is, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. That's what they're saying. A black woman ain't having that, right? So that means that if she was worth it, I would go out there and try to figure out how to take care of her. Because let me tell you this, as a phone, right? If somebody could give you a free Android, you would never make it your same phone, because you want an iPhone, because an iPhone is actually great. You don't mind paying for it when it's worth something, right? Exactly. That's what we're talking about. If it's worth something, you don't mind paying for it. You don't mind paying for it if it's worth it. But if you, for whatever reason, feel like you don't want to pay for it, you're not going to work towards it. And this is the culture of so many black men, not only in the UK, but a lot of black men around the world. When it comes to black women and wanting to get on the ball and saying that, hey, I'm going to be the man that takes care of you, and we're going to have at the closest to the most traditional life that we can. Well, what is that telling you? Especially when these are young men that come from that environment, a lot of them. It just tells you that, you know, a lot of men are just giving up. Because if I'm going to deal with a woman, I might as well get something from it. What guys are saying. With the white women, I'm going to get something from it. Hey, I'm looking to get something from it just like you are. So I don't feel like I need to come and do all these things. In fact, I'm going to basically do another video where you have these black women in the UK and they're upset about as to why these black men don't want to give up their seat on the bus. And this is the problem that happened in the UK, right? These British black men and American black men, and nowadays it's like, look, we are looking at this and we are looking to get a lot out of the relationship, just like yo ass is looking to get a lot out of the relationship. And if we can't get nothing out of the relationship, then hey, we're gonna go to who gonna give us something. And now you're seeing that with the black vote. And I think a lot of women have a problem with that, because a lot of men, you know, a lot of women just think that men, you should be giving us something anyway, regardless of, you know, you should just be giving. What are you talking about you're not giving? What do you mean you're not giving? What does that mean? What do you mean you don't want to give me nothing? Are you crazy? Are you insane? And a lot of guys are like, no, we don't want to give you guys anything. That's just really what it is. We don't feel like it. And so we won't. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, Shady Jackson. Back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Drunk. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.